we are live. Welcome to my video. This is going to be my thoughts on Daredevil Born Again, Season 1, Episode 6, Excessive Force. The episode is rated TVMA, so will this video be, and like all other videos I've done on this show, there will be spoilers for the episode itself, as well as the MCU leading up to it. Love this episode, love most things MCU. Yeah, let's dive right in. So, yeah, let's see, so much to say here. Yeah, really appreciate them actually diving into the whole Muse thing. I don't think I've read any of the comics that Muse appears in, but from what I hear, this is fairly accurate. And yeah, genuinely, the idea of using blood as paint, like, holy crap. And let's see, yeah, it was I liked when Johnny is like, oh, big fan, I voted for you, you know, campaign for the other guy, but I voted for you. And, you know, he just goes on and on, like, just, you know, and Kingpin is like, you know what, Johnny, I would love to stay, but I actually have a dentist appointment. He's gonna have to use the drill. And the aide is like, sir, you don't have any cavities. And Fisk is like, we'll make some. But yeah, eventually he does get to the point, and I like the thing about, you know, so a sanitation worker found a serial killer before the cops did. You know, that's a problem. That's a big problem. And let's see, I think that might, oh right, Muse actually managed to, the whole thing with Muse actually managed to shut Daniel up. Or I guess it's possible he turned over a new leaf now that he's gotten a second chance at the, you know, working with Fisk. Let's see, yeah, Fisk with the rich people was also quite great, how they just see right through him. So yeah, definitely some Trisk, which, in case this is the first video on the show I've done that you're watching, that is what I say when I'm talking about how Trumpian they're making Fisk here. Love it. Yeah, the thing about, you know, oh no, he's not fooling the actual, you know, the rich people who are not, like, completely ridiculous. And, you know, we also have it in him forming a gang that's going to work out, you know, and he's cutting the you know, budgets of things that people actually need. Like, some of the stuff, it's like, how did they know? How did they know? I guess they paid attention during the Trump's first term. Boy, do I wish more of his voters the second time around had done exactly that. And let's see, yeah, and the thing with the gang, you know, some people would say you're a gang. Yeah, people with honesty, integrity, decency, yeah, that's accurate. But I'd like to use a different word, because when a conservative doesn't like reality, they just redefine it, and often using language. Happens a lot. They tend to not like reality. Certainly in recent decades. Anyway, let's see. I think that more or less brings us, right. I quite like the, you know, when Heather is talking to Matt, it's like, oh, you know, I'd like the you know, I'm already being, you know, she's already bugging me about the new book. Oh, do you want to, like, brainstorm? I mean, if you need that, you know where I'll be, somewhere very far away, because I do not want to brainstorm. I'm allowed to make that joke. I've never written, like, professionally, like, God no, but I did write stuff once. You're never gonna read it because it's all garbage, so I'm allowed to make jokes about authors. Yeah, let's see, and yeah, you know, oh, you know, like vigilantes, yeah, yeah, those guys, yeah, sure. And, you know, I kind of do, I want to see Heather interview the Punisher. That would be quite fun. And then she's like, okay, so not the Punisher, how about Daredevil? You know Daredevil, don't you? And Matt's like, I don't. Daredevil? Who's the? I've never. Nope. No idea who that is. That was quite fun. Right, I did just briefly want to say, somehow I missed mentioning, did quite enjoy, yeah, this is not even last episode, but the one before it, I want to say, you know, with the Punisher. Really did love him pointing out, you know, I've never used the word victim, don't put it in my mouth now, you know, because a lot of the guys who in real life idolize the Punisher have a victim complex. You know, they're these white cishet men who just cannot get that chip off their shoulder. They can't stop obsessing over how they haven't been given everything that the media promised them. And I do agree that it sucks that, you know, pop culture fills their heads with these, you know, lies, but they're taking it out on all the wrong people. It's not minorities keeping us from our dreams. It's rich white people. Now, I think that does pretty well cover... Yeah, really powerful scene when... I'm sorry, all these names... Okay, she's not even on the first... Why are some of the people on the very top ones that don't actually appear other than archive footage? Fuck. Okay, I am not finding her name anywhere. Yeah. She was related... She is related to the man that... Oh, Angela, I think, is her name. Yeah. You know, Angela talking to Matt, and, you know, Matt, at first, you know, I quite like, you know, Kirsten is like, what is she doing here? Oh, hi, come on in. So nice to see you. Boy, I sure hope Angela doesn't have super hearing. Wow, that's lawyers, you know, just like say one thing and think another. Just... It was also kind of dextery, you know. You get that, right? Yup. Nope. And yeah, you know, Matt at first is like, children should be in school. But, you know, she's like, no, I'm acing the test, don't worry. And, yeah, you know, she points out some, and it is absolutely true, as she points out, the cops, a lot of the time, don't do anywhere near enough about, you know, for example, disappearances, you know. That's... You know, if you... I'm not going to lay out the entire argument. Just please look it up. There's a lot of wonderful progressives right here on YouTube who explain, but I understand why you might have the perception that cops do more good than they actually do. That is because of propaganda. It is not reflective of reality. Yeah, there are excellent videos right here on YouTube about propaganda with sources. Let's see, for the stats that prove that it's propaganda. Yeah, you know, it wasn't difficult to figure out that, yeah, she's actually going to go and do something herself, you know, but fuck me, the MCU really is getting into the more dark and mature. Like, I sat there for like a solid minute just waiting for Daredevil to prevent Muse from draining any of her blood, and then he fucking does, and they just drag it out. They really milk it. Loved it. Because it's such an upsetting thing. Like, you know, it needs to be big when Daredevil returns. It is like they said. Episode 6 was the one where he put on, you know, which, yeah, donned the suit, you know, and I remember when we heard, or is it 5? Because technically the first episode was not supposed to be the first episode. Whatever, you know. I remember when you know, we heard, oh, he's not gonna wear the suit for a little while, you know, and I agreed. I always agreed that it sucked that, you know, apparently also, you know, oh, it wasn't really going to be connected to the Netflix ones, you know. That was something that I did think was bad. This idea of, oh, he doesn't put on the suit for a while, You know, I don't know. I guess some people just never cared about him until he put on the mask. I didn't think that they took too long to get there personally, but, you know, your mileage may vary. But yeah, thankfully he did save her, and I really liked this thing of like, okay, does he stop Muse for good and save anyone that Muse is gonna go after now, or does he save Angela, who's right there? Like, it's the Charlie problem, basically, you know. And he fucking almost, like, he starts hanging Muse, and they're not, and they linger on it. They're not like, oh, it's just implied. No, like we see, you know, just and Daredevil pulling on it, just yeah, and we get the roar from the trailer. Muse, props to that actor. Fantastic eyes, a lot of eye acting going on there. Obviously, that's all he has that's visible. Creepy, intense, just wonderful. Yeah, and the thing about... Oh, right, another brief Trisk thing, the thing about, oh, you're just enriching yourself, which, again, yeah, that's Trump all over. But yeah, the fantastic reveal, where, you know, the red light from and the train, and Muse is just standing there, like, looking, and then you see Daredevil just yeah. And we see him swing some more, again... CGI is not perfect, but this is one thing that I really want out of an adaptation of Daredevil. You know, I did miss some of the stuff in the Netflix show where it was all practical. If they couldn't do it with practical effects and on the budget they were given, it just wasn't going to happen. We were not going to get to see it. And I'm sorry, I read the comics 15 years before the show started airing. My Daredevil does stuff like that, you know, that I'm not saying that not Matt Damon, Ben Affleck movie is perfect, far from it, but it does have the swinging and the more acrobatic stuff, because I'm sorry, at the end of the day, like, he's not supposed to be like a regular human. There's supposed to be a somewhat superhuman quality to him. And I think we need to see that, you know, in my opinion. If you're going to do this kind of adaptation, at least. Otherwise, you have to do it very different. Anyway, yeah, fantastic fight between them. I hope that the action from here on out is more like this than it was in the earlier episode. I stand by. I do think they did a fantastic job on the oneer, the fake oneer, of Daredevil and Bullseye fighting at the start of episode 1, but since then, you know, the choreography is excellent, but there's always, every single fight scene has at least some cinematography and editing that's just kind of awkward, and you kind of lose track of what's going on. Stuff did not happen in the Muse Daredevil fight, so fantastic job on that. And I think that might be more or less it. Yeah, Fisk versus Adam. Holy crap. Is it just me, or does Adam look a little bit like one of the lesser Baldwins? Although I suppose with everything that's come out, they're all lesser Baldwins. But one of the ones that didn't make it quite as big, you know. I'm not saying that would at all make it okay for Fisk to imprison him. I'm just saying there's probably a lot of people who would if they could. Let's see, but yeah, I love the intercutting, and the thing about, you know, Fisk gives him a chance, which, you know, it's been a while since I read Kingpin, but from what I recall, yeah, he will sometimes, like, give his opponent a chance. And let's see, yeah, all his talk about, oh, you know, sympathizing with the little guy and such. It's again this thing of, like, he has a victim complex, and he's taking it out on all the wrong people. You know, vigilantes didn't do all these things to him. Yeah, I think that does cover... Yeah, I thought I liked seeing Vanessa again. For obvious reasons, she was not in the episode before this one, but yeah, you know, Fisk and his whiff together, you know, I don't know, just makes me wonder if she's a fan of Taylor Swift.